I'm Demelza Carlton, and I'd like to introduce you to the cursed coast of Western Australia, a place of hidden reefs and rocks where many ships have met their doom. Most shipwreck stories are about death, tragedy and loss, but the story of the Cambria is a tale of survival, and the ship's cat. At the beginning of the 20th century, transport in Western Australia was mostly by ship. One of the many ships that carried goods and passengers between Fremantle, Geraldton and Bunbury was the wooden steamship Cambria. Built out of eucalyptus in Tasmania, she carried a steam engine from Glasgow in Scotland. On Sunday the 4th of March 1900 at 4:45 p.m, she set out from Fremantle for Bunbury and beyond under the command of Captain Charles Kolstad. Aboard were a crew of 8 men, 1 passenger, a boy named Reed, and the ship's cat. No, they didn't forget the cat. Her cargo included kerosene, oil, machinery, whiskey, beer, wine, brooms and bicycles. They ran straight into a southwesterly gale and heavy seas, so they took shelter behind Garden Island. The Cambria reached the South Passage of Garden Island at 8:30 that night, but a heavy swell drove her onto a reef. The propeller broke and she started to take on water. By 10 p.m, the water had reached the boilers and put the fires out. The crew tried to launch a boat, but it capsized as the swell pushed the Cambria off the reef and into deep water, where she sank to the bottom 6 metres below, with only her masts and funnel above the waves. The captain, the crew and Reed, carrying the ship's cat, spent the night clinging to the rigging. In the morning they climbed down onto some floating timber. From there they built a raft out of more timber and used it to haul up the ship's boat. Bailing out the boat, they managed to row it to nearby Garden Island. Making a mast and a sail from wreckage washed up on the island, at 9 a.m. they set sail for Fremantle. 6 hours later they arrived. Captain, crew, passenger and cat too. Captain Kolstad was suspended for 6 months from sailing as the master of a ship. He was only allowed to sail as a ship's mate for that time. As for the passenger and the cat, young Reed found he was considered a hero. To quote the West Australian newspaper, "The brave are ever humane, and I hope that many will emulate the good example set them by Mr. Reed." Unlike her cat, the Cambria was a total wreck, and her corroded boiler can be seen today at the spot where she sank in 1900. That's all for this week's Cursed Coast. Next week, a little-known World War I naval battle in Australian waters, the Royal Australian Navy's first victory at sea.